bought lanes for this event today?
Great organization, and it's part of the community, and that's what we're all about. We're involved in Prestige Club because we are bonded to the community. It's what we do, and supporting organizations like Prestige Club just makes our life better. And so we're going to have a full house here today, a lot of excitement, a lot of entertainment going on, and there's going to be a lot of strikes bowls.
We have Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Welcome. This webinar was created in partnership with the BPAA Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and we welcome you here. This is part of our continuing webinar series, and we are happy to present to you Growing Revenue, Community Partnerships, and Staff Morale, the value of community bonding here today. I am Kelly Bednar, your Director of Education for the BPAA, and also the Staff Liaison to the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. I am your host, moderator today. However, your facilitator today is Joe Schumacher, an industry veteran and one of the most knowledgeable people on this topic. He's none other than he's also the past president and currently the CEO and president of Spares, Inc. Before I turn this over to Joe and let him describe to you what you just heard there on the screen was what that was all about, I have a couple of housekeeping notes that for those of you who are new to the webinar experience, we hope there's several of you that are new to our presentation series. If you have a question at any time, feel free to type it in your questions box, and that'll come to us, and we'll try to answer that question in real time. If it's a question that isn't going to be covered in the presentation, if it is, we'll let you know, hey, Joel will get to that. Also, if it's a good enough question that we feel that everybody should know, we do reserve the right to throw that question out there to everybody during the question and answer period. And if time allows, we may have a verbal question and answer period at the end of the session. And that could be done by raising your hand. Those of you who are new to this webinar experience, there's a little hand raising thing there on your screen. Let's practice this and see who's all awake and who's paying attention here. And click your little hand raiser there. Go ahead and click that. Hey, look at that. We got some people who are awake, Joe.
Yeah, that's great.
That's good to see. Not everybody's awake. We'll have to wake them up a little bit. But we appreciate it. As I turn this over, welcome, Joe. They're all yours.
Okay, thanks, Kelly, and thanks everyone for attending this webinar. The video that you saw just a few minutes ago was recorded just a couple weeks ago. We had a fundraiser for an organization called Prestige Club of Broward County. We worked with them on a number of events, and that particular piece was done by Ion South Florida, and they get an awful lot of coverage down here. So it's a nice piece, and it starts showing and talking a little bit about the concept of community bonding. I think it's important to give you a little bit of background as far as how we got to this point. If you go back in time to the fall of 2009, I created a piece that I called Bowling 2035. It was in fact a strategic plan, or is in fact a strategic plan for what I see as the future of bowling and the business of bowling. And in that plan, I identified 5 strategic planks. The first being community bonding, followed by competitive bowling, the issue of locations, investors, and then finally support. As I look back at it today, the only thing that really has changed, or that I would change about it, is I would elevate community bonding from being a strategy for a healthy bowling business to being a philosophy of operation. I'm committed to that, and I truly think that that's where we are. So community bonding, as I see it, is an integral part of a contemporary bowling operation. The second piece, as far as how we got to today in the being here on the behest of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, is that after I launched Bowling 2035, I met with Diversity Chair Bev Van Blair, and it was interesting as we spoke about Bowling 2035 and the concept, zeroing in on the concept of community bonding, a couple things became very clear. First, that community bonding is a vehicle for implementing the whole concept of diversity within the bowling business. And the second thing is that diversity has changed. Diversity should no longer be looked at as an issue. It's really a function within the bowling center, because the whole issue of diversity and inclusion is one of going out to your community and reaching your community and having it be part of really the business of bowling, and that's what it's all about. So I thank Bev and I thank the committee for the support of the concept of community bonding, and we'll launch right into it. This slide that you see here, the picture on the slide actually goes back about 3 to 4 weeks maybe now. The Miami Dolphins came in and hosted an event. 22 active players came to the center along with 50 elementary school students from Miami-Dade County. The students were selected based on academic performance for the year and had a field trip to the bowling centers to bowl with players. It was a great time, and you'll see a couple other slides as we move through. And note, too, the fellow on the far left in the background looking at his phone, he's not one of the players for the Dolphins. So it's really an important aspect, though, to understand what community bonding is about. In this slide, I mentioned the term core bowling business. Fundamentally, these are traditional bowling centers that we're talking about. We're talking about all the businesses, and the vast majority of the folks on the call today are owning and operating these businesses, where bowling is the most important part of the business. The most important thing is the next game of bowling. FECs, very good concept, very strong businesses, businesses that use bowling as a complement to an F&B business, good businesses, but the concept of community bonding is really one that's geared towards and directed towards traditional bowling centers. So if we take a look, at that concept of a bowling center, and if you ask a person that's in the bowling business about their center, typically you'd come up with about 3 different ways that they would refer to the center. At the first level, they say, well, I'm located in this community, like my bowling center here that I'm in today, located in the Davie, Florida community. So if we moved on from that, a little bit higher level of engagement is that we could say, or would say, that we're a part of the community. I could say that, Spares Davie is a part of the greater Davie community. It's interesting to note that multi-unit operators, the chain operators, tend to get stuck here. This is an area that an awful lot of managed bowling businesses, and by managed I mean that have a general manager in place, whether they work for an individual investor or whether they work for a chain, they tend to look at their business as, at best, being a part of the community. That's because their loyalty tends to go to more towards the organization, up and down that silo of the organizational chain of command, rather than being bonded out to the community. They're bonded to the organization. So being bonded to the community is absolutely a critical factor in the operation of contemporary business. I know probably a lot of you are out there saying, but we do that. We could be considered to be bonded to the community because we run fundraisers and we do this or that. But what I want to really stress with this and the discussion today is the fact that bonding to the community is sort of like saying that when you go jogging around the block, it's the same as running in a marathon, or when you're splashing around in a backyard pool, it's the same as competing in an Ironman triathlon. Bonding to the community takes it to a whole new level. It brings you to a new place, and that whole concept of being out there and doing more, investigating it, determining in your own particular situation how far can you take this concept. That's the level that you get to when you're actually training for competition, when you're at the highest level. So when we look at that and we say new, interesting concept, different, it's not necessarily new. It's really important for us to understand that. I think everybody's probably heard the Einstein quote, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That definition tends to lead us to the point that we think that we need something new, that, gee, because if we're not creating something new, then we're doing the same thing over and over again. What's missed there is different is not necessarily new. There's another whole component to different. And that component is all of the things that are in our past, that we've learned in the past, but we stopped doing, that we don't do them anymore, or we haven't updated those skill sets. And so it's important for us to recognize that bowling has been around for a long time. And those of you on the call that have knowledge of my background know that I've looked at that quite a lot, and I have a tremendous respect for where we've been as a business. And we don't have to leave all of that behind. There are aspects that we do, but I want to give you just an example of what I mean by this and the value of reaching back for skill sets. Something a little bit away from community bonding. Many of you probably ran the 8-for-8 program. 8-for-8 is a ball program, basically. It's a product that was created by Bowl New England, and it generated thousands of new league bowlers for Bowl New England. Dick and Tim Corley graciously shared the concept with the MUBIC members, and then with STE, and it rolled out eventually as an STE program, youth program, and an adult program. And although Dick and Tim obtained almost extraordinary, seemingly extraordinary results with 8-for-8, it didn't necessarily flow through to every single bowling center. And the reason for that is not in the product. The product was a good product. It was a solid product. It's a product that had every opportunity of working. But what was missing and what we lost over the time is that skill set for selling league bowling. The ability to go lane to lane and talk to customers and start that process of converting customers to bowlers and signing them up. Bowl New England didn't lose that skill set. They were able to build on that skill set, put a good, competent program in place, and get tremendous results. We have to look at that same thing, and we have to take a look, too, as we roll out programs in the future at the training component, because we can't assume that we've brought forward the skill sets that allowed us to be successful in the area, particularly the area of league development and league operation that we had in the past. Community bonding, to a large degree, is the same. If we go back really into the golden age of bowling, and it was the really golden age of league bowling, bowling proprietors were just that. They were proprietors. They were owner-operators, and they were connected to their communities. They did a lot in the community. So community bonding, as much as anything else, takes us back to that point in time. Just a little quick aside on that, also going back, those of you think that, gee, this isn't a new concept, think too that the places that we see today, like Lucky Strikes and strike holding centers that use bowling as a complement to food and beverage, that's a throwback to before the suburbanization of America and the development of the bowling center. That's back when bowling was a complement to an urban-based bar business. And so we see that really there's nothing new And so bringing back community bonding is consistent with that. The key to community bonding, though, in looking at it, is that there needs to be 3 wins. The business needs to win, the community needs to win, and the staff needs to win. You know, it's pretty easy to see the community, the business winning. You know, we get direct revenue opportunities that generated, and we get a tremendous amount of awareness of the center in the community. And so that's pretty clear. We can identify those wins. The community wins, a little bit different. First of all, when we're running fundraisers, the community benefits because those organizations receive dollars. They receive the funds that were raised. But they also receive something that's very important that we don't acknowledge, and that is that they receive community experiences. If you're in a bowling center, on the concourse of a bowling center at the conclusion of a fundraiser, people are leaving, a lot of smiles, a lot of chatter, and you look at that as a bowling operator and you say, wow, they had fun bowling. We did a great job because the bowling experience made these folks happy. We're going to get a lot of them back. Really, though, if you surveyed those folks leaving, and say you surveyed 100 of them, and you asked them what their score was, you know, what was the last game that you bowled? Most would probably not know it, or if you asked them, did you win that last game? They would say, what do you mean? Because they're not focused on the bowling. What they're really smiling about, what they're pleased with, is that they had a very positive community experience. They came together as a community member for a cause in the community. It happened to be located within your business. And the fact that it was located within your business gives you ownership of that experience also. So when you think about the awareness that is raised there, those smiles going out the door, that sense of community that those folks have when they leave, that's one of the big success points that you have in operating community bonding. Now, the staff win. How important or what is that? Well, the staff has to be a vital part of this, and I'll get to a little bit more on this later. But really, there has to be a sense of belonging, and the key to this is really that sense of engagement in the whole process. This cannot be an exercise that simply is a management exercise. You know, it has to engage the whole staff. So the staff wins when the bowling center is recognized as being a vital part of the community. They win individually when they're recognized. One of the things that we do is create certificates for everyone that works in one of our community bonding exercises, either in center or out in the community, and they're recognized for that. And also they get to meet people. We need to take the time and pay attention to introducing our staff to the folks that come in and participate in it. And for our staff, it's an opportunity to become engaged in the community. And it's very, very important because they play a huge role in the success of community bonding. So again, engagement is vital. You know, the value is really created through engagement. So this slide, interesting one, over on the right-hand side, a foot with the socks on it, and then a banner and you know, a display of a award ceremony. What this actually is, the presentation of a check for $500 to the CEO of an organization called Family Central. Family Central here in South Florida is a major support organization, and it just does an awful lot for families here. Now, the sock tie-in. One of the aspects of community bonding that we've initiated is that we peel off 50 cents from the sale of every pair of socks. And we sell a lot of socks because our casual and entertainment business is quite strong. So we peel that 50 cents off, and each month we identify a community organization that we'll be supporting. We put signage up in the center, both electronically on the monitors, our lobby monitors and the scoring monitors, and also some static displays. We display the materials that explain the organization's mission and what they do in the community. And then we go about, again, collecting funds. We also not just take the 50 cents, but we have our transaction folks. The folks are counter folks as they're ringing up that sale of a pair of shoes, ask the customer if they would like to contribute to possibly match what our contribution to the organization. So we do make a $500 guarantee to each organization on a monthly basis. And if you want more details on that, some of the support materials that are available to you at the end will give actually a list of the organizations and also a little bit more on that program. Now, one of the aspects of that, too, is that that $500 isn't a magic number. It can be anything. These organizations in your community are not looking for the home run. The thought that you have to do multiple thousands of dollars of contributions to have an effect is not the case whatsoever. And you know, donations are greatly appreciated. And in case of Family Central, they're able to take and leverage our donation into a much, much bigger number with matching funds. So be there, be participating, and be engaged, and those smiles are real on the face of the folks receiving those checks. You know, engagement at another level, too. You see some kids using our lanes, our portable lanes, the carpet lanes. That happens to be out in our parking lot. About a month ago now, we ran an event called Kids Having Fun Day, and we brought together all segments of the community, the Davie Police Department, Davie Fire Department, the Florida Panthers hockey team. We had a bounce house there. We had dance studios. We had martial arts studios. We had all sorts of folks come and set up. There's a picture of Carolyn Dorham Ballard. We brought Carolyn in, and she went lane to lane helping with skills. We had all of our coaching staff there, and so it was a great event. Over the course of a 4-hour event on a Sunday afternoon, we registered 394 kids and families into our database that we didn't have, and we signed 10 kids into our summer youth program. And so it's a very, very good event, and it came out of those relationships that we have been building in the community and with the community. Our costs were really minimal. We rented tents. You know, we had some other costs there, but setting up in the parking lot, all those folks came in, and in the background of that one picture, you can see a line of police cars. It's one of the times that when you drive up to a bowling center and see a line of police cars, you don't feel all sorts of nervousness about it. It was a great event, and one that really does typify what community bonding is all about. Other events, we don't have pictures of them here, but when we go out in the community, like Orange Blossom Festival and church festivals, we're active participants in that, and we give out free game passes and just awareness and support those in the community. So if we look at community bonding and that whole concept, you know, it's really key to understand, and this is a little chart to put together. It's a very simple thing, but it gets to the idea of engagement. And the real critical thing to understand here is that if this is left to be a management or owner function, it will fail. Fail may be a strong word. It certainly won't be successful. It won't be a driver of your business. But if you engage your staff, if you take and make this part of the fabric of your culture of your business, and you're really real with it, that in fact it's going to become a vital part of your business. And what you have to do, though, is reach out to the staff and find out where they're connected. Whether you have 10 people on staff or 80 people on the staff, they all have connections to the community. So you reach out and you work to create more and stronger community connections to the business through the staff. And then you give them the recognition of it, that they're participating. Because again, people work for us for a number of reasons. We tend to think that they work for us for the paycheck. But there are a lot of opportunities, no matter where you are, to get a paycheck. And even in tough times, the people that work with us have options. They can work other places. So it's vitally important that we give them more than just simply what the compensation equation offers. And part of that is that we give them exposure, we give them the ability to bond, we give them the ability to be on a good, solid team, something that they look back at as being positive when they finish their time with us. So remember those three wins. It's absolutely critical that the business wins, the community wins, and the staff wins. And that brings us to the point of having some questions.
Wonderful, Joe. And yeah, I do have a couple questions that have come in. One was about the transaction with the socks. Do they? The quote here is: so is it $1 or 50 cents from every sock sale that goes to the organization? A little confused there. Can you clarify that a little bit?
Sure can. In fact, what we do is 50 cents per pair of socks, and comes out as the base contribution, and then we match that up. Whatever that amount is, we add on top of that anything that we have collected through our request for our customer base to participate. And then if in fact that's short, then we bring it up to a minimum of $500. So we always guarantee the organizations, and of course we ask them for promotional materials, so they're involved in it right from the beginning, and they know that they're going to have a minimum of $500.
Well, I think like you had mentioned earlier, it doesn't have to be that large dollar amount of $500. It can be any, especially if you think you mentioned Bev Van Vleer earlier. She's in Iowa, a smaller community. A smaller donation can go a long, long way. It's all relevant to the size of your community and the size of the organization. Now, Bev's probably not going to sell a bunch of socks in Iowa like you guys do down there in Florida, where everybody walks around barefoot or flip-flops or whatever. But it could be something else. It could be maybe from your vending machine. You're going to do some things, or from maybe something from the pro shop or something to that nature. It doesn't have to be the socks. It's just something that you did.
No, you're absolutely right. The socks gave us an opportunity. It's a high margin the way we have it priced, and you're right. Their per cap non-sock wearing population is pretty strong down here in South Florida. So we also rent a lot of shoes because of the nature of our base of business, and so but it can be anything. If you take a look at your business and take a high margin item, that high volume, high margin item. Even if you raise the price of it and then peel that off so that you're not impacting current revenues, that's possible. But the other key point I want to really reinforce what you said is it's not the $500. It's not a dollar amount whatsoever. It's the connection, and it's the process of working with groups and organizations. The one thing in that slide with Family Central, Barbara Weinstein is the CEO's name, and as we were talking about that, Barbara was talking about her organization, and she's very big in all of South Florida. She has about 275 employees, and before we left that day, we booked them for their holiday party, for their staff holiday party for this coming holiday season, and she committed to run a fundraiser in addition to that. So that's the level of commitment that you'll get by working with the organizations in your community, finding them and working with them, going out and bonding to them.
Joe, I got another question for you. Another question has come in. Was the Dolphin Students event organized by the school district, by your center, and if by you, how did you get the information to the schools for their cooperation?
Well, that's a great question. And in fact, the Dolphins organized it themselves. We in the past have done a number of events with the Dolphins, and we have a great working relationship, and this is the nature of bonding over time. You don't have to advertise. I'm not saying that you never spend a dollar on advertising anymore with community bonding, but you're not necessarily creating awareness in the traditional advertising ways. We've developed over the years a strong working relationship with the Dolphins. We are the place that they think about when they're going to do something in the community. They've come in at different points in time and taken the full center, and this is a 64-lane center, closed it so that the front office, the players, the coaching staff could all have sort of a play day during a training camp. They bring in, about 3 or 4 times a year, they bring in parts of the team that, say the linebackers or the defensive backs that might be working on something, they give them a little bit of downtime. And so they bond with us in that way. So when they think about, from their front office, what we do, or what, from their perspective, what they do to support the community and engagement, the bowling with elementary schools was a natural. And they came to us with that one and said, hey, look, John is our GM. They called John and talked to John. You have lanes available on Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And just so happens that we have lanes available at 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. And and so it fit right in there, and it was a nice revenue item.
Great, great. Well, I've got a couple more real quick. We kind of completed our timeline that we said that 30 minutes. So anybody's welcome to stay for these questions. Got some great questions coming up here. 2 questions. We're going to put them together for us because they kind of go together. First is, what is a good method for finding the nonprofits to work with on these fundraisers? And the other one is, how often do you hold these event things inside your center? Now, I'll add on to this too, is that, they don't have to be at your center. They can be out in the community too. And in fact, many communities have all of these kids fairs and things that they have. You should be buying booths in there and spending some time out in the community, and those carpets are perfect for that. So tell us, Joe, where did you find your list of nonprofits, and how often do you do something with them?
Well, a good question, and we do as many as that we can fit into our schedule. We find them by being engaged. Local newspaper, Chamber of Commerce, we're a member of organizations. We join those, and of course, everyone is networked. So if you're running an event for Big Brothers, Big Sisters, you're going to have individuals that come up to you and say, hey, I'm also involved in junior achievement, or I'm also involved in Boys Club, Girls Club. This would be a great thing there. So it builds on itself. The big thing is to get started, get out in the community, and be aware of what's going on in the community. In terms of the events, our Kids Having Fun Day, we're going to follow that up with an event in the fall. It's still in planning stages, but it's going to be Seniors Having Fun Day. I think that we'll probably lose the bounce house, but we'll keep a lot of senior type of activities and build some things. It'll be more inside the center, but it'll be geared again towards registering new and seniors into the program. And so we will take and continue to use our facility, but as you become engaged in the community, you become aware of what community organizations are doing themselves. So you said exactly what you need to do. You need to buy that table. You need to be there. You need to hand out some free game passes. You need to give away some prizes. In all of the events around, whether they're church events or community events, it's amazing. Depending on what your seasonality is of your business, we'll tell you when it is. In some cases, the summertime will be very, very busy that way, and maybe your bowling center isn't. But that's the time to do that, and that's also the way to engage your staff. When our staff goes out and represents us out at these events, there's a sense of pride that they're doing that. So that's what I would suggest. The first thing, be aware of what's going on. Look out, peer out beyond the walls of your building, and really become engaged. Bonding is a two-way exercise. You bond to the community, and the community bonds back to you.
Hey, Joe, I've got Lou Sims here. Lou, can you hear me? I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Hey, Lou, you had made a point here about what you do with some of those pictures that we were showing. What do you do with those, Lou?
We put them on Facebook. What happens is people may not even know about the event that you were hosting at your place, or wasn't able to attend if they did know about it, and it just reminds them of what you do in the community. It works out good for us because we're in a rural area, and we don't have the major media coverage. I might be able to get something in the paper once in a while, things like that, but I don't even have a radio station close by to us. And this is a great way for people to check up on what you got going on Facebook accidentally, too, just by taking a look at what your event was all about and pictures work great on Facebook. We had an event for 4-H not too long ago. We also had a karaoke for the cure for Cancer Society and bowl-a-thon, and both of those worked out great for us. We also had a fundraiser for a longtime bowler that passed away, and family raised a bunch of money. All those are permanent pictures on our Facebook page.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Lou.
Great
Appreciate
idea.
that. Well, our time's gone over here about 5 or 6 minutes. There's a couple more questions we'll follow up with offline for you. And if you have want to find out more information and links to examples of some community bonding that Joe has done, you can see it at joeschumacher.com. And also be looking for in the winter, probably looking at January, February, March, somewhere in there, in a partnership also with the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, the Bowling University online training program. We'll be adding a community bonding online course, so you can be walked through some of these steps on how to create some bonding with your community in the online environment. We hope you will join us for our next webinar, whether it's in 2 weeks or 1 month. We don't quite know yet, with Bowl Expo coming up. We hope you're attending Bowl Expo. We hope that you're going to come and get your $100,000 chance at winning the $100,000 bowling makeover at Bowl Expo. Joe, thank you. Thank you so much for putting this together and being here with us today. And we pray that everybody uses this and has some successes with it. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Joe?
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks for everyone attending. Thank you.